Welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray. We have the founders of Whimstay with us today, and we're going to have a great conversation. May focus a bit on partnerships. Maybe it focuses on how to enter a market and more, but you're going to have a great time. Again, this is Ramon Ray of The Rundown with Ramon. Get to know me better at zoneofgenius.com or ramonray.com. And with that, Noel Russell, how are you today? How are things in your world?
I'm great, Ramon. Thanks for having us on the show.
You are so welcome. What about you, Alex? How are things in your world?
Ramon, things are fabulous. Thank you very much. Stoked to be here.
Great. Well, I'm glad you're here. So let's get with it right at the top. Noel, if you don't mind, just what is Whimstay? Who do you serve? What's the website address? Let's just call that out, and I'll ask you to do that a few times during the show. I always love uplifting my fellow entrepreneurs. But what is Whimstay? What's the website? Give us that at a high level. What you're doing today.
Awesome. So Whimstay is the leading last-minute vacation rental marketplace. We offer exclusive deals on last-minute vacations made within the next 30 days. Think about it as like Hotel Tonight, but for vacation rentals. Our website is whimstay.com. We also have a mobile app that can be downloaded on Google Play or the Apple Store. And it's WHIMS as in Sam, TAY. So whim, like traveling on a whim, and stay like a vacation.
I love it. Let me just push back right at the top. We're going to get controversial, Noel, of one thing. Do people really do last minute rentals? People don't plan their vacations 6 years, 10 years, 50 years in advance and plan it all out perfectly? Is there really a market for last minute, Noel? And then Alex, jump in. Talk about that,
Yeah,
Noel.
there is, and it's fat, it's burgeoning. So booming, actually. The last minute vacation rental boom really has started kind of during the COVID era. We are seeing on our site over 70% of searches happen within the next 30 days. We know that it's a trend that's happening worldwide as, you know, millennials and Gen Z continue to gobble up larger percentages of the market and become our main audience. Back in the day, my parents and my grandparents did plan trips a year in advance. I think that some people still do that when it's like that family trip to the lake on 4th of July, but more often
Sounds
than
so
not,
boring.
it is boring. And it's
Go ahead.
also, life is so unpredictable, right?
Yes.
We learned that so much can happen. We also learned how to be a little bit more savvy in our shopping behavior. And we know that sometimes waiting till the last minute, whether it's on, you know, clothing or groceries sometimes, and vacations can get you a deal. Also, flexibility in work schedule has really, really changed the way that we look for travel and how we plan travel. So all of this has come together to really create a great, like a perfect market fit for us as we've launched and let travelers know that we exist and we're the best place to come first to find something within the next 30 days.
Alex, I did have a follow-up for you, but feel free to go back wherever you like, anything you want to add into. But it seems to me, Alex, like this could be, as we all, you know, you're entrepreneurs, I am, as we talk, Seth Godin, a friend of mine, the father of modern day marketing, that this could be a great niche is what I'm hearing, that on your website, I think it was alluded to in my quick scan. We can serve broad market, you know, you want to house anywhere, but that word last minute, it seems like that's where you're saying we're going to anchor, we're going to define, we're going to category own last minute. I could be taking it more than you meant, but is that anything on that, Alex? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, I think one of the words that we like to use, so we're a marketplace, we're a two-sided marketplace, right? So we have to cater to hosts and property managers. We have to cater to travelers, obviously. On the host side, yes, we want to anchor with this idea of being highly complementary. So if I'm a host, I specifically am using Whimstay for my 30 days and under, right? I'm using Verbo. Let's just say I'm throwing this out there. I'm using Verbo for 100 days to 90 days out. I'm using Airbnb for 90 to 30 days out. And then I'm using Whimstay specifically for 30 and under, right? So yes, I think it could be considered niche. I think it could be considered complementary, right? On the traveler side, Noel brought some cool numbers to the table, right? So about 70% of our bookings are 30 days and under. If you go look at, this comes from AirDNA, which is one of the top data collectors of our industry. If you go look at AirDNA, right now, globally, 65% of all bookings are 30 days and under globally. So this is not really a trend anymore. And if you start to look at demographics, so we kind of talked a little bit about Noel's grandparents maybe going to the lake for a week 4th of July. And I think that that's sort of the generation, the baby boomer generation, which I think was sort of a little bit more tuned into the let's take 1 week vacation every year.
We
If
work
you
at a
look at
solid job, have a solid pension. Every year we know it's only going to be this 7 days. I get it.
white picket
That's our
fence,
parents.
2.5, you know, gray flannel suit, right? Gregory Peck. So, so I that's an obscure movie reference. Sorry, but where was I?
The category of last minute category of last
totally.
minute. Yes.
Totally. So if you look, one thing that Noel loves to talk about is this next gen traveler, and this traveler, and I can let her speak to it more, but this traveler is probably our industry's greatest tailwind, as far as I can see it. There's some cool studies and surveys that were done that show that they like traveling 6 or 7 times every year with these little micro vacations, right? So that sort of 1 week long vacation that our grandparents took every year, that's not happening anymore. It's 6 or 7 or 8 of these little micro vacations where I can work from home, just not mine, right? So this is a hybrid scenario. I live in San Francisco. There's no reason I can't go to Tahoe and work there for a week. There's no reason I can't drive down to Santa Barbara and work for a week. My wife and I are going to do that in August, right? So, so there's sort of that element to it. And short-term rentals play into that far more than hotels do, I think. So, so I think that there's a lot to be said. So it's niche, no question about it. But it's got a firm little place, we think, in the hospitality sector, in the hospitality, and it's its own little vertical. So, and as Noel sort of mentioned at the outset, hotels do this, right? With Hotel Tonight. Nordstrom does this with Nordstrom Rack or TJ Maxx or whatever, right? Every sort of industry, the grocery stores do it with a grocery outlet, right? So all these industries have what you would consider sort of oversupply options for both the business, right? To sell things that otherwise are going to go unsold and to get something instead of nothing. And then for the buyer to think like, well, I can get something at a really good price if it's oversupplied, right? So it's, you know, kind of a win-win.
And don't they build it in there? When I go, go on my airline, United Airlines, they say if you are flexible, blah, 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 blah. So I love that. And to be clear, Alex and Noel, let's, underline here, maybe Noel, I'll turn it back to you here, just that for my audience who's hearing us today, niche is not bad. It could be like a pejorative, but I wasn't saying that in a negative way. For my own self, I tell people unequivocally, I am the best known motivational speaker for large brands targeting very small businesses who have big events.
Yeah.
There is no one else. Now I'm taking it down, but that I could make a lot of money in that space. And of course I can serve any market, but even myself. So Noel, can you just underline that a bit? This aspect of niche or long tail. Can you just talk about that a bit more, Noel, for the audience, why that's so important?
Yeah, I think it's important. Like Alex mentioned, we tout this line, complement, don't compete. We're here to, our PR team says, scratch a long standing niche in the market or niche in the market. And I think that that's really important and valuable. I think that we're also tapping into, like Alex and I mentioned, emerging behavior for travelers. I came from the fashion industry, so when we talk about TJ Maxx and Ross Dress for Less and how they complemented the Macy's and Nordstrom of the world is a very real thing. And it also tapped into emerging behavior. I always say, like, we would sell bathing suits for cruise, aficionados and people planning that lake trip in August. We would sell them bathing suits in February at major department stores. But when you want to sell people bathing suits for that barbecue party that weekend, that happens in the dead of July at Ross or TJ Maxx, right? So for us, those folks taking 4, 5, 6 trips a year that are sneaking off to work from someplace new during the week, that's who we're here for. And that's a consumer base that's growing. And we're very excited to be able to serve them up something that is exactly what they need. I think that the Airbnbs and Vrbos of the world are fantastic. They're going to be around. We're not here to compete with them. I would love to tell every traveler in the world, if you're traveling within the next 30 days, come to Whimstay first and see what you can get, just like you would go and grab that bathing suit for this weekend. If you can't find it, if you cannot find the thing you want, you know where to go also, right? But that's what we're here for. And we're really, really thrilled to be able to meet that need well.
I love that. Hey, what's the, not short term, what's the
last minute?
Last minute for that last minute travel, whimstay.com. And I love that. I say the same thing. I say, listen, you definitely should hire Oprah Winfrey. You should hire her for speaker at your event.
Okay.
But if it so happens you don't have $3 million, a private plane, and 20 security guards around you, you don't have it, I'll do it for 25K. So I love it. I love it. Noel, I'm curious, how did you and Alex meet? My guess is you were sitting in a hotel lobby coding, and you had, X stay. He was going by, looked at your screen, and like, what about Whimstay? And you were like, that's rude. And he sat down. That's my guess.
Nailed it.
Tell me.
Nailed it, except for the coding part.
Noel, do tell him, then Alex, you jump in, or Alex, you can go first, however you want to do it. How did this duo come to be?
So we are two of the folks that kind of came up with this idea were one of them, our current CEO. He owned vacation rentals, and he was the person that one night was like, why is my vacation rental vacant for over 50% of the year, which is the average for vacation rental owners? And why isn't there a hotel tonight for it? So they were smart enough to tap Alex pretty quickly. And soon after that, I came and I think we ate Greek food in a really weird little boardroom together. And we all it was like a motley crew that was like, let's do this together. And I got to help advise on some marketing while Alex truly broke ground on like who do we call to start doing this with. He put some names on a whiteboard and checked them off as he went. And so that's how we met. It's a lot less glamorous than the coding in a hotel, but still nonetheless, and before that, I should plug that Alex was working at Yelp and teaching meditation for like his team. And his wife, a partner at the time, was teaching yoga to corporate executives. And I actually worked for a nonprofit and was introduced to them back then to come and help youth who were struggling with housing stability to practice mindfulness and yoga and whatnot. So my first entree to them was just like these wonderful yogis that are just so kind and lovely and work in tech. And then now I get to work with one of them, which is great.
I love that. Alex, it seems to me one thread I'd love to pull. I'm sure there's some smart person who has a book titled Thread or something. So, but giving credit to who people say the word thread, but one thread I want to pull, Alex, can you, if you agree, again, Alex and Noel, anything you disagree with me saying, always feel free to restate it. But talk about the power of partnerships. It seems like you all knew each other at some point, had a relationship, had trust. And I know all partnerships don't have to have that. It may not have started this way. You could hire a partner, whatever. But can you just touch on that, Alex, for my audience, those who may say, you know what, I'm alone. I'm tired of going alone, looking for a partner, wish I had a partner. Can you just riff a bit about that aspect? And it seems in this case, as many of my had, doesn't have to be, but usually it's people I kind of know for a bit, saw them here, saw them there. I'm like, yo, bro, we trust each other. Let's do this. Can you just touch on that, Alex, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I think that the scenario with Noel and me and our founding team, it was somewhat synchronicitous, right? I think you've got to keep your eyes open and see what is presented to you. Because I do think if something is presented to you, that's probably that there's something to it having been presented to you, right? If you can find some, because you really, I think the outset of creating a startup with somebody in a group of people, yes, there is an element where you're kind of doing everything, but you're also very much head down in your lane, and you've got to trust that the other people in their lanes have their heads down and are doing the things that they have to do. And you can't really be peeking over to see what's going on, right? You just don't have the time, or you don't have the energy, frankly. So I think it's to find a group of people that you think you can work with in that way, you trust implicitly, without even thinking about it, that they are taking care of business on their end. This is not, you talk about what are the important parts of a startup. Timing is probably the most important. I would say market fit is obviously the most important. Those two things are really, really, really important. But then having, a team that you trust is probably three, So I would say this, right? If you're starting something, and people are presented to you in any way, keep your eyes open, keep your heart open to it, and see if that person, and allow that person to kind of enter the fray if you can. Generally, there's, universe is funny, man. It'll do things that you don't think it's gonna be doing, and there's a little more to this whole thing than we think, So, that's my feeling on it. And if you look at sort of how this initial team was brought together, it was relatively synchronicitous, and it was relatively kind of flawless in a way, right? Where it was like this department, this department, this department, and all these talents came together in one sort of place relatively quickly, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, we've got a little bit of a team in place, So
I love that. And I love how you said, Alex, one thing you added there, you don't have to look over your shoulder, et cetera. They have to earn that, of course. But I was watching a video, and I watch a lot of military, Navy SEALs, military, martial arts, jiu-jitsu. And I was watching a video about clearing a room of somebody who's you don't want in the room, put it that way, clearing a room with a weapon. And they said at the highest level, though, once your team member says it's clear on that, you don't look and double check, was it clear? So again, they have to earn that. But interesting, that's military. This is Whimstay, whimstay.com, right? For last minute vacation rentals.
Yep.
Okay. Last minute vacation rentals, but similar thing that if Alex says, I got it, assuming you trust and you grow it, Noel shouldn't have to let me double check it. Nope. He's got his team. So I like that. Noel, do you want to add anything else to this aspect of team, especially talking to those that are listening today and like, how do I get a partner? How do I develop a partner? Or they're like, things are not going right in my existing team. What could be wrong? Just riff on that a bit, Noel, please.
I think speaking to your point of folks feeling alone and what Alex was saying, I think that creative leaders hire creatively. So I think they're not also looking for the exact person that checks all these boxes. They're looking for that spark, right? They're looking for someone that has the thing that can translate to maybe a different product, a different market. That's, I think, what we should look for first and foremost. If you're looking for your head of sales, maybe don't look for a former head of sales always, right? Maybe look for a person that Alex actually was like on off-Broadway star also in his early career, right? And that you would, Alex, you and I were talking a while back where I was talking about, we're creatives. And Alex is like, I'm not a creative. I'm like, what? You were an actor for over a decade.
Yeah,
like, tell me someone is not the best at building a business who didn't stand on a stage with a bright light in front of people they don't know and pretend to be someone else for like an hour and a half and do it well. I'm sorry, that's like the high, like you don't need an interview. That's the best. So I think that thinking outside of the box and understanding what certain skill sets and qualities translate across different roles, and really what's important to your company that maybe isn't always hard skills or experience. I think in terms of what doesn't work, I think it goes back to you and what you were saying earlier, Ramon, is like trust. A lot of times when that gets eroded, everything kind of starts to fall apart. And thinking about how do we build a space where someone says that, the room is clear and we know that that's true, and that we can move forward confidently in that. And I think that there's great books and great, podcasts about building trust, but I think that naming things out loud, saying, I think we have a problem with this, and then working together on how to move forward in that, or we're not, which is also an important thing, I think, to recognize as an option.
I love that.
Can I piggyback on one thing? I think what she said is really important and fantastic. Entrepreneurs are built a little bit differently, right? So one of the reasons that I personally felt like this was something I needed to do was because, to me, working at Yelp, for example, had a ceiling to it, and I just didn't like the ceiling. And so entrepreneurs, that's kind of they're a little crazy, right?
We are
a little bit.
I'm not crazy.
Noel, you're nuts. And so you're crazy, girl. So
those who say they're not, Alex, those are the ones that are.
Yeah. So I think that there's really an element of to Noel's point, entrepreneurs think outside the box. So find people to start initially that maybe are willing to be a little bit outside the box, a little bit, obviously able to take a risk. If you're starting a company, you're high risk, high reward, just by very nature, right? So it's really important, I think, to initially have a team of like-mindedly crazy individuals. That's sort of,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. You're entering, Noel or Alex, you can just wave, or whoever wants to enter this, best of both of you can. You're entering into a market. I'll turn to you first, Alex. Entering to a market that there's entrenched competitors that have a lot of brand. And I don't know, it doesn't matter really, but I don't know if they're losing money or not, and all those big kind of Wall Street type stuff. That's irrelevant for a bit for this conversation. But my question is, can you tell us what you're doing, if you can, at a high level, and as a lesson for others, how are you getting eyeballs to whimstay.com? Because you have to have customers. As you said, of course, you're a marketplace. You need the places where people can go, and people have to stay. Part of that is conversations like this, spreading the word about you, and media is one, clearly, but you can do Facebook ads, word of mouth, go to events, tons of different ways that a startup in this industry that relies right on people maybe searching. So can you just help us understand, Alex, I'll turn to you, what you all are doing, but and leaning towards teaching others, hey, here's some ways you can market. And then Noel, I'd love for you to add to that too. But Alex, I'll turn to you first.
Yeah, the marketing piece I will let Noel
please
speak to, because that is what she does. But there's one part that I did want to actually talk to you about there, because there are these entrenched sort of mega folks, right? Airbnb and Vrbo, if you look at those two, and there are others like Booking.com as well, right? That are firmly entrenched. I think that for a startup to just go and try and beat those people up, that doesn't make a ton of sense, right? For us, what was most important was we were fitting. There was a need, right? There was a market fit, and the market fit was specifically for expiring inventory. And so for us, really, what we were really planning on doing the whole time was not to go and compete against Airbnb and Vrbo, but to complement them. And two, as again, speaking to this win-win piece, right? To take a property manager or a host who has the need to get rid of expiring inventory, because over 50% of their inventory is not sold, and for travelers that are spontaneously minded to be a home for them. So for us, it was really important that we understood what our place in the market was, and that we really sort of, I think, highlighted what that place was. And I think sort of by being able to do that through some marketing initiatives, which I can let sort of Noel speak to a little bit, but I think by saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We are an alternative, right? We are complementary. Okay. We do this very specifically. We're not trying to take anyone from Airbnb. We're not trying to take any of your Vrbo travelers. And I think by really firmly placing yourself in the market as an alternative in that way is really, really, really important, right? Market fit. And so that's kind of to that piece there. And then the marketing stuff, that's Noel's our marketing genius. So
I love it. Noel, talk to the people. Tell us.
I mean, to echo what Alex says, back to also what we were speaking about before, but building trust is so important. Alex was able to build a lot of our supply side, so our property management side, by building trust, by telling folks that we have something to offer that can complement what they're already doing and can help make them more money, and then delivering on that helps build trust. It gets folks to share about other people. We're an early stage startup. We don't have billboards. We don't have, ads across the internet.
After today, you will.
We will. Fantastic. After this, we're not an early stage startup.
After this, you reach the limit, the ceiling of, this is, there's nowhere else to go from here. Go ahead.
But so because of that, I think we're at our stage right now, really need to continue to bolster trust with our consumer base, and really do what we do well. So to, make sure that we're ensuring that we have skin in the game, that we're putting customers first, that we're leaning in, that we're listening, and that we're developing in real time against the things that they want and need, because word of mouth is real, and can, the way that we communicate and share it can go viral in our own little circles. And that's really what I think we need to focus on right now before we spend the big bucks on the billboards, is being able to say, like, can we deliver on the thing that we promised our customers? I always say that people put all of their hopes and dreams in typically two events in their life. One, their wedding day, and two, their next vacation. I mean, the expectations are so high of, Vacation You is a different person. They have not a care in the world. They're 10 pounds thinner and sun-kissed, right? And so when people come to our site, they're looking for their hopes and dreams to come true. And it's our opportunity and our job to usher them through this experience that not only is a win from the start because they got a great deal, and they're able to, save $60 a night that they can spend on, an amazing meal overlooking the beach. But also, did we hold up to our end of the bargain throughout that experience, and how can we support them going forward? When people feel that, they come. It's the same reason why we make friends and stick with them, right? When you feel affirmed and supported and secure, you come back. And so I think that that's what we're building right now on both sides of our business. And that will help us know that we mean what we say, and we can ensure that we'll deliver when we do spend, $3 million on having Oprah promote us.
And of course, I will have opened for her, though, right? That's a given. I will have.
At that point, you should be asking more than 25K, dude.
Yeah. That's just for the, that's just for the lunch, One thing I love, Alex and Noel, and it could be how you all are just indexed, how you all do, and you may not notice it, maybe you do, but you seem to uplift and appreciate each other. That's just a notice I have. And I've done hundreds or, thousands, whatever, of interviews. Nobody's been negative or not, but you seem to have a very intentionality about listening to what each other's saying. And I don't know, am I onto something there? Or is that just?
Well, Noel's is not only a colleague, but has become a dear friend. So I think it's kind of what she just said, right? There's a trust and a comfort. And also I think she's fantastic and brilliant. So
see, you're doing it now. See?
Yeah. So I think the thing that she says makes sense to me. Like, I've never heard her really say the thing that she just said.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's good. So, and we've talked at each other's faces a lot. And so I've never heard that particular one. I was like,
I love it. Noel, thoughts on that? Am I picking up something there? It could be just how you guys are.
I feel the same way. I think I fangirl over my colleagues more than anybody.
She really does.
You have to. You have to fall in love with the people that you work with, just like you have to fall in love with your customers. I always say we don't speak negatively about our customers, but we definitely don't about our colleagues either. And we always need to find a win. Like, what's the thing that we love? Now, that's easy with Alex because he's perfect. With other people, it's a little bit trickier. Sometimes, but I think that's something that I think that's something that we all do well together. We're also, back to your analogy, we are in the trenches. This is not easy work. And and if you're going to talk to people at 7 a.m. and then again at 11 p.m., you need to do the same thing you would do with a good friend or a family member, and find the things that you are in love with and continue to fan the flame of that. And I think that we do that well. One reason is survival. There's literally, we would not be able to survive without that. But two is because it's good business. It just really is good business. And I think that's culture is something you can actively build in. You can hire folks and that all helps. But if it doesn't start at the top, if you don't have people that really link arms with one another and don't let go, like those three-legged races, we're like a big line of that, and no one can run faster than the person next to them, but you also have to try to keep up because we're just trying to move at rapid speed, all taped together. And so I think that figuring out how to keep pace with the person next to you and what makes them feel healthy and supported and safe, and leaning into that trust so that you can actually move faster is the best thing. And I think that's what we do well.
I love that. It's funny how you said that, Noel, as we come towards an end, but I'd love to leave you all time to say anything I didn't ask you. Feel free to take the mic and go wherever you like. And I'm tempted to do a Tim Ferriss type, like let's do a 3-hour interview, or like the guys that acquired. My brain can't, I have so many questions, but I'm like not tired because you all just, I don't know, I'm dialed in different. So anyways, you got to get a sense of how I am. Like after 4 minutes, I'm like, you know what? This has been a long phone call. It's time to go. but I've enjoyed it. But I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, can you talk a little about the guts of Whimstay as much as you can? I'm curious. Is it like how do you get the whatever you call the other side, the people who have the residences or places? I know how you get the consumer side. You know, they come in, but how do you get them? Is it API? Is it manual? Do you have 4 million interns in yellow hats going around all over the world knocking on doors? Hi, Noel sent us here. Could you fill out this form and we add you to Whimstay? Can you touch on the guts a little bit?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Yes, it's API and SDR, right? So there's a couple of throw a couple of letters at you, but yeah, we the way that we connect with property man. So right now, what we do is we connect with property managers. We are building something out where we're going to be able to connect with individual hosts. Property manager, just for the uninitiated, they own 100 properties. It was a business decision, right? One phone call gets us 100 properties instead of one phone call gets us one. Makes sense, right?
Smart.
In order to be able to connect to those property managers, we have to be able to connect to their softwares. In this industry, in our industry, we have what are called PMS, property management software systems. There are about 1 million of them, it seems like sometimes. We have integrations with about 20 of them, 23, something like that.
That's a good number.
It is a good number. We have our integration team is unbelievable how fast they work and how great they are. So what we do is we will then take one of those PMS and we will be able to integrate with them. And then we find lists of the folks that use those PMS. And then we get an SDR team that basically calls them up and says, hey, what's going on? This is what we do. Let's play. And due to Noel's team, those calls have gone from 1.5 years ago. Hi, it's Alex at Whimstay. What's Wednesday? No, Whimstay. To now, hey, it's Alex at Whimstay. Oh, hey, what's going on? I like what you guys are doing. And so there's different ways to observe times of passage of time in a business. And one of those ways for me and my team has been that people know who we are now, right? Noel and I joke sometimes. We joked on another podcast about we're going to know we made it when you spell Whimstay in your text and it doesn't have the squiggly line underneath it. It just knows what we are.
Nice.
That's Noel's thing. That's sort of that. Like that was kind of our passage of time and seeing like that was. Our squiggly line going away is sort of our SDRs not having to deal with explaining necessarily what we do. So that's kind of the meat and the bones and the guts of how we do that. It's not pretty. It's not easy. It's certainly not sexy. It is gritty SDR, cold call, cold email work. That's the extent of it.
I love it. I love it. Noel, I'll leave you and then I'll turn back to you, Alex, and I'll give a side note, just as a side issue. I go take the side sometimes. But I was calling a local restaurant yesterday to cater some food for my daughter's getting married soon. And I realized I have to stop being
a daughter who's marrying age? You look like you're 7 years old, dude.
Come on now, say it. Editor, can you clip that and we replay that on a reel over and over and over and over?
You do not look like you are old enough to have a daughter that is getting married.
Yeah, I'm over 50, man.
Wow, you look great, buddy.
Thank you. But I realized just talking about phone calls, and I'll remind me, Noel, I want to get back to anything you want to add, but just I have to stop being so kind and sounding so peppy. He thought I was a spammer. Here's how I talk to him. Alex, you say hello. Say hello, Ramon.
What's up, Ramon?
Hey, my name is Ramon Ray. Hey, listen, just calling today. How are you, by the way, buddy? You doing okay? I'm just being me.
Yeah.
He said hello. Click. I'm like, no. So I called him back over and over. I realized I have to stop. I have to just say, hi, this is Ramon calling to order pizza. Because more than once happened at my church. We were ordering like 30 pizzas from Pizza Hut or something. And hey, my name is Ramon. How are you today? What's going on? What? How are you? It's a great day. Click. Yep. I'm like, okay, I can't. I got to stop. So
can I actually say something to that quick? That's really interesting. One thing that I teach my sales team all the time is we have to be as consultative as possible. And the most important part is the first 5 seconds of that phone call. How do we not sound like we're trying to take something or sell something to them? And so it's funny. I've got the same sort of thing. Hey, what's going on, dude? And that's how I talk, right? So that is a really interesting balance, particularly in phone sales now, where people are getting so many spam phone calls now. If they see a number they don't recognize, are you picking up a phone number you don't recognize now? And so how do we sound as consultative as possible And then, by the way, the other part to this, I'm sorry, I'm stepping on Noel's
No.
part,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I've got to talk to this because I think it's kind of in sales in general, which is always sort of something that it means a lot to me. But to also, if the person isn't ready and wants to say no, just let them off. Just
Yes.
say, okay, great, it's not a right fit. That's okay. Maybe eventually it will be a right fit. There's something highly attractive about being able to say that about your business. Hey, you know what? We're not a good fit. We're not a good fit. So that's kind of neither here nor there. It's just sort of rang my bell when
No, I
thinking
love
about
it.
kind of the sort of overly obnoxious and hard sell salesperson. Makes me want to vomit. So, but I've got the same thing, man. Hey, what's up? Sounds like I'm on drive time radio, dude. Like, come on, bro.
And I only got it after the few times. And I think Alex Noel, those, by the way, here we'll go on one more thing. Well, when we let people go, we're going to let them go like this. That's okay. You don't want to be on the Whimstay platform. You don't want us to change your life. You don't want more money. You want to be in poverty the rest of your life. You know what? You're fine not having people book your rooms. Nothing for me, dude. It's okay. Have a great day. Don't pay your mortgage. Don't pay your rent. Let your kids starve if you want. That's your problem.
Yeah.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
Shall we hang up now, sir? No. Who are you again, Whimstay?
Yeah.
Noel, anything that I didn't ask you wanted to touch on, anything you thought was important about Whimstay or to entrepreneurs, whatever you like, the floor is yours. Then Alex, I'll turn to you with the same question.
Oh, great. I just wanted to, I know Alex was talking a lot about our property management partners and how we connect with them via property management systems and how we've really laid the groundwork, and that was a business decision. But I wanted to tease that will soon change. And so our goal is to be able to onboard is not a word we use normally, is to be able to bring on customers who do have one home and maybe don't use a property management system yet. And so we're working swiftly to be able to expand our B2B side of our consumer base to be individuals with, one or two rentals that really want to make that added income. And we're really excited about that because that's going to be able to offer even more diverse properties to our travelers who are looking for those great deals and give these property owners the opportunity to capitalize on our unique offering. We'll also be quickly expanding internationally by the end of the year. So not only will you be able to take last minute trips throughout North America, but soon you'll be able to take last minute trips even further, which is maybe a little bit more adventurous, but is very exciting also because this is something we've dreamed of for a long time. So those are two really exciting things on the horizon for us, and we're thrilled to be able to share them with folks.
I love it. Congratulations. Alex, anything I didn't ask you, anything you wanted to mention today before we conclude this amazing discussion?
I think we're good, man. Clear,
Love it.
That's
Love
a
it.
great little analogy. I'm taking the clear analogy with me.
Well, I love it. Noel, I'll give you the pleasure of one more time telling us how people can find Whimstay, who you serve. Give us that one more time and a nice buttoned up thingamajiggy. What do they call it in English? Just go for it. Yeah.
Yes. So for people looking for the best deals on last minute vacation rentals, so any booking within the next 30 days, go to whimstay.com or download the Whimstay app. We guarantee that we have the best prices compared to other big sites. So like I said, if you're looking for something to do that's fun within the next month, maybe you have a night or two off, come to Whimstay first and see what deals you can find. And we have destinations across North America, and we have the same units that are listed on the other major sites just for significantly less. Our average user saves over $200 per booking. So whimstay.com or the Whimstay app. And if you ever have any trouble, you can reach us at stay@whimstay.com. That comes directly to me. I will talk to anyone, any time of the day. Alex can vouch for that.
Yep.
I love that. And I'm Ramon Ray, publisher of zoneofgenius.com. Hit up zoneofgenius.com for amazing interviews like this with the founding team of Whimstay so you can know how to grow your business, build generational wealth, and live the life you want. And when you get that money and you're looking for a place to live the life you want, let me see, where should you go? How about Whimstay? I'm Ramon Ray. See y'all later. Have a great day. Thanks for being here today.